What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. One of my sponsors, Steel Supplements, link and discount code down in the description. You also know I'm a Weeble preferred voter. People ask me, Ryan, isn't it a bad time to have a sponsor like Weeble with how volatile the market's been, with how people will say the market is crashing? And I say no, not really, because Weeble gives you free stocks just for signing up. You go and start an account with that link. They're going to give you fractional shares. In some cases, you can get a company like Apple, who's still one of the leaders in the industry. You're just getting them at a lower cost. A lot of people averaging down in their price points like myself when the market goes down like this because I plan on holding these stocks for a very, very long time. So Weeble's still going to give you value. You actually might get more value now than you would have before. All you have to do is sign up with that link. As I said, just join. You'll get fractional shares, but if you deposit just $1, they'll give you more free shares. Speaking of stock in the Baltimore Orioles this year went up tenfold because of Adley Rutschman. A lot of people like to come on this platform and create franchise rebuilds, and maybe they'll cram 10 years into 45 minutes. I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to do a rebuild. I want to do a make-right season. What if Adley Rutschman didn't get dinged up and instead played the full season? So that's what this video series is going to be about. Adley Rutschman opening day, the catcher. Now, that also means that we have to address some things, though, in the team because the infield suffered this year. Rougned Odor did not answer all of the questions. In fact, he probably brought some more questions than we expect. And listen, I've got love in my heart for any player out there that wears number 21, but we've got to upgrade the infield. And Nico Hoerner is a great way to do that. We're going to give Austin Hayes, Colton Cowser, and DJ Stewart away in order to accommodate that. Really, a prospect, a player that didn't pan out, and a day one starter in Austin Hayes. And that's going to leave some holes in the outfield, and we're going to fill them with some other unfulfilled prospects in Yul Diaz and Maverick Hanley, who, to be honest, we really don't need any other catchers than what we have now. Anthony Bemboom can spot fill as a veteran, Robert Chirinos can bring leadership, and of course, the whole series is based around Adley Rutschman. In return, we're going to get Joe Adell, an unproven star in the league that we're going to have to kind of rebuild, if you will, to make him viable. Now, on the other side, we're going to go ahead and move Tyler Nevin, who actually had a great moment playing against his dad this year with the Angels. And while I'd have loved to send him over to that trade in terms of getting Joe Adell, the Angels just didn't want Tyler Nevin. But Detroit did. We're going to pair him with Robert Newstrom, a left fielder, and in return get a Rule 5 guy and Akil Baddoo. And this is going to give us great speed in the outfield, great athleticism, and younger players working on smaller contracts. Now, the addition of Nico Hoerner is going to shift our infield around a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put Jorge Mateo, a guy that originally came into the league almost through New York, looking to replace a guy they had at shortstop, but didn't pan out for him there or with the Athletics, and eventually came to Baltimore, and as you can see, this year, made himself a name. We're going to move him over to third base. And when you look at where we are in terms of depth, on paper, the team looks very young because they are, and the farm system behind them is one of the best in the league. But I really like this nucleus of a team, right? You've got Adley Rutschman, a catcher, switch hitter, star player, hopefully could be one of the premier players in the league. Behind him, you've got a veteran in Chirinos. If something happens to either one, again, we've still got a guy waiting in the wings, Anthony Bemboom, who can spot fill either way, but not be that star. At first base, you've got Ryan Mountcastle. Trey Mancini obviously means everything to Baltimore. Love to see him go to Houston and hopefully go and get a championship. But at the end of the day, much like in real life, Trey Mancini becomes kind of a trade piece for us, but also becomes great depth at first base, or the outfield. If something happens to one of our players, you have to build the team logically. Moving over, you've got Ramon Urias, who's again kind of had an up and down year. In real life is injured. Odor kind of gets pushed back. You don't really trust Odor at second base. You don't really trust Odor when he bats. It's the epitome of a player that is all or nothing. Terrin Vavra, unproven, but comes in, fast player, great bat, just not ready to start. Shortstop, of course, Nico Hoerner, we talked about, hopefully will be the star, go over to third base. Jorge Mateo, and again, you can back and interchange Mancini, Odor in a pinch with a lot of these infield positions, although you really want to limit Mancini to first base, and you really want to limit Odor getting on the field, but you also give them the capacity to DH if they need to. Going to the outfield, again, Akil Baddoo. You have Mancini available out there if need be, but Ryan McKenna is a great player for range. He can play pretty much every position in the outfield, and he can also pinch run if needed. Cedric Mullins, of course, star currently of the Orioles, leadoff man in most cases, is going to man center field, and then Joe Adell is going to go over in right, and we pretty much have the same rotation all the way around of players that can interchange. Now, pitching is going to kind of be a learn-as-you-go proposition. Right now, John Means was the star last year. You would think he is the ace, but coming off surgery, probably won't see him in real life for another year. Jordan Lyles, Dean Kramer. I'm going to go ahead and move Mike Ballman into the rotation. I'm going to move Kyle Bradish in the rotation. And then Grayson Rodriguez didn't get his complete call-up this year like DL Hall did, but we're going to go ahead and roll with that list and see exactly how players can kind of go through, move in and out. In real life, there's a lot of chemistry between Adley Rutschman and Kyle Bradish. I don't think that's going to carry over in the game, but it doesn't mean that we can't mimic what Baltimore is probably going to do in real life. Moving over to the bullpen, Cole Sulser, Dylan Tate, Keegan Aiken, who can actually go a bit further as far as being like a middle relief pitcher, Bruce Zimmerman, who kind of had a fall from grace after becoming the opening day starter in real life and got bounced around, and DL Hall, another premier prospect in the league, but yet to see if he can actually come on and be a full starter. Our closers are going to be Jorge Lopez and everyone's favorite, Felix Bautista. I wish he could come out to the Omar whistle like he does in real life, but obviously pitching to most teams is going to be one of the weaker points unless you've got a guy named Ohtani, because to be fair, you're looking to fill a lot of days, have a lot of talent, and you really can't have all of that salary. And to that point, you look down there in the lower left-hand side, our salary is still very, very much manageable and under control, and we are the fastest team in the league, which means if we were playing Madden, we would be the best team in the league. Now, with MLB The Show, it's not as simple as just going out and getting the fastest team. It's actually having them produce on the field, and that ultimately will be the challenge with this game is, can we take this team of kind of pieced together players, really only one or two real stars in real life, and then make them into a team that can contend. And just because I didn't mention it, permanent DH Anthony Santander can also go out and spot fill in the outfield. So to me, the depth is there with proven veterans behind players that have a lot to prove this year, and it'll be fun to work through this team and see how they handle that. Love to know your guys' thoughts on this video and this series, and you know I will be back in the week with more comments.